Go live. 3, 2, 1. Hi, thank you for joining me. And as you can see right now, there's actually some severe thunderstorms that are possible in central southern Texas. And the biggest threat right now is going to be some hail. This is for tomorrow, actually. This is the day one outlook for today. This is what's going to happen tonight, actually. You might even have a hatched area for hail right here. So you see, yep, hatched area for hail. That's what I thought. We had some thunder showers in New York City last night. Actually tonight. So these severe storms capable of producing large hail and damaging winds, and even it said brief tornado marginally severe hail may continue for the next few hours across the Ohio River Valley. So they're saying that. So let's look at the Texas. So large hail. They're not really saying tornadoes. They're saying damaging winds, damaging hail. So wind, hail. Yeah, see, even New York City was in the 5% hatched area. I mean, that's already can be cleared out because we already had those storms. So not much for tornadoes. See, only 2% chance. Tomorrow, looks like southern Texas is in play again, but I think that's for today. I think. Look at the day 2 outlook. So again, probably hail. Risk for storms. The main threat is going to be hail. Let's look at the current radar. I'll show you for you right now. Oh, look at that. Huh. There's a thunderstorm riding right up along the coast. You see that? See, just right along the beach. You might get a quick downpour along the beach, so some of that could be scuds, but I think, just false echoes. But I think the edge of the rain is right along here. No warnings in effect for this. None that I can see right now. But if we're going to go to Texas, actually, let's go to Del Rio, Texas. That's where there was some hailers earlier. So just tell me what do you want to see for thunderstorm? We'll go to live control room right now. Oh, thank you for joining. So that viewer is probably me. Maybe not, but let's check. Also, there's going to be snow in Europe. So snowstorm in Europe. Yeah, with some small hail. So it's kind of weird, Oh, look at that storm right there. That is something else. That is a big hailer. I mean, yeah, severe thunderstorm warning definitely has to be issued for that. I mean, just check that out. That storm is producing some giant hail. That has to be giant hail. That's about, say, some 2-inch diameter hail. Oh, wow, tornado just hit Mexico. We just had a tornado. We just had a tornado. Right there, a possible tornado. Look at that, right there. Possible couplet right over there. Yep, there's rotation in there. Right in that cell, right over there. Couplet right there. Oh, no, that's not good. Oh, that actually might be producing a tornado, possibly. Hopefully not. But that could be producing some tornadic activity. So there's definitely some supercells going on. This is more of a cluster. So now let's go to the radar. I'm going to be showing it to you right now. Not radar. I'm going to be showing you the... go to Google Maps. I'm going to try to figure out what area in Texas is getting those storms right now. So let's look at Del Rio. See this big county right here? So Del Rio has 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. Because in fact, there are 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. In fact, see 1 and 2. Let's go to Del Rio, and there'll be 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. So as this loads, let's go see more. Let's go to see more and see what is going on. Control room. So far, no one has joined the video. Still waiting for a viewer. Just gonna pause it for a second. Hey, David. Live stream. So, so as I said, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now for for Kinney County, and so you have 1 severe thunderstorm warning. You have this quarter-inch hail. That's for quarter-sized hail. And I'm gonna check if there's any other warnings in effect right now. So let's look at the flood advisory, severe thunderstorm watch. There's the severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be for quarter-sized hail. However, even the severe thunderstorm warning is for quarter-sized hail. I am very concerned if that hail core ends up going into I'm very concerned if that thunderstorm ends up going into Valverde County. So that's Valverde County right there. So you have Kinney and Valverde County. So the city of Del Rio is in Valverde County. So that's Valverde County right there, the big county. So Del Rio's in Valverde. So Valverde County is about to get a big hailstorm of at least, I would say, at least $half size hail, maybe up to golf ball size. I mean, that's a big hail. I mean, I don't know if that's a false echo of that, or if it's really that strong. But that is definitely pretty far out, you know. So this is where the radar is head centered, right over here. I'll show you by looking at the velocity data where the radar is headquartered, right there. So you're having quite a bit of distance. And there's a possibility of a microburst. Let me try to reset this though. Looks like it's still only one person who's watching the stream, which is me. So far I'm the only one. Maybe I should have made one in advance. So, but there is some very intense thunderstorms right there. That's a very strong storm right there. It's probably not just going to be hail, it's going to be some very strong winds and very heavy rain with this. So as you see right over there, there is a very intense little cell right there. And oh, hey David, thank you for joining. So let's look at the radar again. Very strong winds there. Looks like some rotation could be occurring. Yeah. I think I figured out the trick. Nope, guess not. Nope. I'm gonna have to reset this again. Still did not figure it out. Darn it. This website is really getting on my nerves now. Oh, come on. Yep, see, it's doing it again. Can't even zoom in. So there you can see there is some pretty strong winds, maybe some rotation. But it's very broad. It doesn't look very strong. And also it appears to be more of a pretty big hail core. So it should be pretty scattered. Yeah. Righty. As we were going, big storms coming in right now. Yep. Let's see that reloaded. Yep, that's the latest update. This is Central Daylight Time, of course. Now I want to change gears to something very exciting. Still talking about winter weather. It's May 3rd. Today is the 20-year anniversary of the May 3rd, 1999 tornado outbreak. As you know, more tornado 20 years later. Reed Timmer's and Jeff Petrosky's big tornado. They both were on that tornado. Reed Timmer was almost hit by that tornado. the Bree Timmer actually was in an underpass when that tornado hit. It was very scary when that happened. And as you can see, today, May 3rd, this May 3rd is going to be very nice for more, not having any more tornadic activity for a while. That's good news. Let's change gears again and talk about snow. I just noticed that May 3rd timestamp, so I'm going to go to Tropical Tidbits. We're going to talk about, let's look at the GFS. European is one thing, but I'm not going to look for the United States. We're going to go to Europe. Central Europe. Let's go there right now. Looks like I can't really find it. Let's try to find Europe. There we go. Europe. So look at that. Let's look at thermodynamics. Look at 850 millibar temps. And latest update. And look at that. Boom. Big, big cold blast. Look at all that cold air loft. I mean, check this out. This is some very, very cold air loft. So this is supportive of snow too. I mean, look at that. Let's look at the total snowfall accumulation. And I ain't talking about in the Alps. I'm talking about in the general area, away from the mountains. You have some hills here, but let's look at that. Look at that. Snow in Germany. That is insane. Look at this. I mean, just check this out. Oh my goodness. That is, oh my God, that's several feet of snow. This is looking in centimeters, but still, wow. Where's that? Inches? Yeah, my goodness, that's actually in inches. Oh, white. Oh my goodness, that's feet and feet of snow in May. In May. Look at that timestamp. You're having feet and feet of snow in May. Incredible. And okay, let's go back. So this is incredible. So going from severe weather and heat from parts of the country in the United States, we're going to Europe, and they're talking about a May snowstorm in Germany and parts of even Italy. Snow going all the way down into Turkey. Look how far down that's extending. I mean, those are high mountains, but still. This is something you will see in usually maybe ending in early April, but this is a whole month. Look at that. Look at the Balkan states. All that snow just coming down. People are going to be shocked. You're going to hear this on the news. Big snowstorm in Europe. It's unbelievable. All of Norway's getting snow too. Look at that. I mean, look at that. Poland's getting snow. Germany's getting snow. I mean, the reason it's very little precip. I mean, alrighty. So if there's going to be more moisture with this, if this system could have more moisture, a lot more snow could fall, and this could have been a major May snowstorm. I mean, it's not like impossible, but it's very rare. It's, maybe once every 10 years you might get something like this, or there's that Arctic front, more reinforcing shot of cold air coming in with some snow squalls, and you see this activity here? It's an afternoon for them. Right around to 18Z, afternoon time. Those are hailers. Those are convective snow showers there. Could be bringing some small hail, what is considered to be graupel. Graupel usually in Europe falls in mid to late April. So this is not very impossible. This happens maybe once or twice a year around this time. But this is what's so incredible, is this storm right here. Of course, you don't have the NAM over here, so you'll have to use the GFS FE3 to be more accurate. And I believe that is only for the United States. Yeah, the GFS FE3 is only available for the Northern Hemisphere and the United States. Let's look at the NavGem model, which I think is only available only for the United States and Europe too, but let's look at it. Ready? And I'm going to get back to the severe weather in just a moment. Just want to show you how incredible and rare this is. You know, you will have people say, oh, you see, global warming isn't real. But it is. You know, the world is still warming. There's still warming going on. In fact, this is happening. I'm going to show you for a brief second. I'm going to actually show you some very sad news regarding sea ice. I know I'm going off topic a little bit here, but this is incredible. This is the lowest ever for the month of April. See this? Arctic sea ice has never been lower. Let's look at Antarctic. Antarctic sea ice. Also the lowest. This is very, very bad for the planet. See all this abnormal warming. Let's look at sea surface temperature anomalies. This is another thing I wanted to show you. Is the state of the temperatures oceans. Let's look at this. May 2nd. All this cold water. This is because of melting polar ice. It's disrupting the Gulf Stream. You see all this warm water here and all this cold water here. You're having... So the Gulf Stream is being disrupted, and that's why you're having that cold air. So, you know, climate theorists did say that Europe would be getting colder because of the disruption of North Atlantic Current. And this is how it would be happening. So it is starting to happen. Also very cold waters around Labrador, also because of melting sea ice. In glaciers as well. And also But now let's get back to the severe weather. This storm is gusting itself out right now. It's becoming more of a bow echo. I wouldn't call it a derecho. This is just a little band of storms right now. So let me try this again. Let's load this. So storms are coming in. Should be gusts up to about 50, 60 miles an hour. When I was in Miami, I encountered a very intense thunderstorm. Unfortunately, my phone is having trouble uploading the video. And this website is acting up very badly right now. So I can't really display things very well. I did get a new job, so very soon I'll be buying, you know, maybe some weather stuff. Okay, let's talk about again back to the severe weather. Let's look at the supercell. First, let's look at the Cape. So you have high levels of Cape right now from areas from the southern Gulf going into just south of Mexico, south of Texas and southern Texas and the south central part of Texas near Brownsville. And look at that. The high instability areas going from the Gulf of Mexico all the way north. This is because of high moisture content right here. And this is where the dry line is, right here. And look at this. Very, very dangerous threat of severe weather Wednesday. As long as the mid-level lapse rates are low, you could have very high capes. But if you have very high cape but don't have a storm system passing through, you may not necessarily have severe weather. But let's check the mid-level lapse rates out for that day. Very concerned about South Texas. And also, this looks like a severe weather event for Tuesday. But Cape levels always mean severe weather. I mean, if you have this type of Cape levels here in the Northeast, and you're having a storm system coming through, you could get what happened on June 5th, 1953, or June 1st, 2011. You could get a tornado, or you could even get what happened June 1st, 2011. If you have very high lapse rates, mid-level lapse rates, good. It's perfect conditions for hail. For hailstorms, especially if you're having a storm system coming through at the same exact time too. How did these high lapse rates form? Is you have cold air pulling over the Rockies, in the mid-levels because you have high mountains, and then that spreads eastward into the Midwest. So you have pockets of cold air aloft, not formed by storm systems necessarily, but cold air pooling over here and then moving eastwards. Sometimes you'll get pockets of cold air aloft coming in from the polar regions. I'll show you what I mean right now. Let's look at convective products and look at mid-level lapse rates. That is a prime ingredient for hail. And also for tornadoes sometimes, because that's where you could lapse rates means where the temperature and the dew point are very separated, so it's dry up there. It's cooler and drier in the mid-levels. So let's look at Wednesday, how high the lapse rates will be. So you'll have some elevated lapse rates, but nothing like what's down here. It's incredible. But look at that. Areas of high lapse rates moving into Texas Friday, and you're having an upper level system coming in. Very dangerous severe weather outbreak. Very dangerous, but this is way out. This is when you could be getting a tornado outbreak. This is a prime danger for tornadoes. This is when you could be very concerned with large hail, damaging winds, tornadoes, those discrete supercells. Look at that, Tuesday, severe weather outbreak for areas of Nebraska, South Dakota, and parts of northern Kansas. I'm also concerned about Wednesday afternoon, as I said. Oh, look at that. A very high chance, between 7 and 10. You also want to look at helicity. That's what determines tornadoes. Oh, this looks very bad. Yep, let's look at the storm slinkies right now. Let's look at what's going to happen. Is it an SPDS tornado or is it just tornado? So no, not a really big chance of strong tornadoes, but a very high chance of from EF0s to EF3s, but low chance of EF4 plus. So most likely this will be a enhanced risk, but not a high risk, or not a moderate risk, but definitely enhanced to maybe moderate. Definitely big chance of severe hail. And looking at Storm Slinky, there's definitely wind shear. Well, now let's look at, beside looking at the wind shear, at the supercell composite, let's look at the helicity. This is looking at 3 kilometer helicity, which is about 3,000 meters up, which is about 6,000 feet. So low to mid-level helicity. Very high values right here. Look at those values there. But this is looking at the GFS. For short term, you want to look at the NAM or NAM nest, because that is more accurate. They do better with short term. Let's look at 3 kilometer helicity for tomorrow. So definitely has some threat of tornadoes there, so possibly a few tornadoes in southern Texas. So let's look at supercell composite for southern Texas for tomorrow. Elevator risk there. So nothing extreme, nothing that screams tornado outbreak, but an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out in central and southern Texas tomorrow. Looking at SIGTOR values, the significant tornado composites, it's a little bit elevated, but nothing like what we had just the other day when we had that tornado outbreak. So that's good news. Significant tornado outlook does not look significant. That's good news. But now let's look at NAM nest. NAM nest is showing, as I said, those thunderstorms over Texas. I'll show you the radar again. You have those hailers moving in. Heavy rain in southern Texas right now. Big Bend area, Del Rio is going to get hit by another round. It's night there right now, so these are night storms. So you have this round of storms that sap some of the instability. But there is definitely some hail with this storm. So let's go back to the model now. This is looking at tomorrow afternoon. So, yep, definitely a threat of some tornadoes in southern Texas. But I think the primary threat, from what I can tell, will be supercells and maybe more straight line damaging winds and large hail. So large hail, damaging winds, maybe an isolated tornado. But the biggest threat from all severe thunderstorms, beside those extreme events, is flooding rain. Very heavy rain can fall in a short amount of time, especially where dry air meets very humid air. So you can have very, very intense rainfall amounts, maybe sometimes 2-3 inches an hour. And it looks like it'll be more of a gusting wind threat. You might get some 40, 50 mile an hour winds. You have southeast winds ahead. So you could get, gust nados, on the leading edge. You could get maybe a quick spin up. Might get an embedded, some rotation in the storm itself, not just on the gust front, but in the storm itself. Because if you had discrete cells, they would become supercells, as you can tell right here. See this area right here? This indicates helicity. So looking at updraft helicity swaths, you'll be getting some very high values here, I believe, between here and over here, up to maybe 240. You're getting some pretty elevated values. I mean, see right there, updraft helicity swaths, and then as you go further out, those are tomorrow afternoon storms. Look at that, supercells right there. That's some very strong stuff there. Now let's look at the simulated reflectivity again. Let's look at tomorrow afternoon though. So these type of cells will be more hailers. I don't think they'll be tornado threat. I think this will be more of big hail threat. Hail between the size of ping pongs and maybe baseballs. Maybe not baseballs, but I would say maybe golf ball sized hail, definitely. Because this atmosphere is a little drier here. Let's look at surface temperatures. So you see we'll be having a bit of an outflow boundary from these storms here. So you see these storms will be forming along this outflow boundary here. And why would it be cooler here? You would think, okay, it's very warm all over the place, but it's cooler over here. Let's look at simulated reflectivity to find out. Remember how you had all those showers passing through, those low clouds? You're having a bit of a low pressure system right here. Very weak, but there is a bit of a low pressure system. Let's look at wind gusts, and I will show you what I mean. So right around here, look at that. You're having southeast winds here. But the thing is, the reason it'll be so cool is another reason is you're having cold air coming out of the Rockies. So this is a little unusual, but sometimes you could get a bit of an upslope effect. It will create a lot of clouds. And look at surface visibility. Want to use that without all that fog. And look at that fog right there. Fog's going to burn off, and areas that had the fog burn off the quickest is going to get some of those intense thunderstorms. And looking at the NAM nest, the NAM nest isn't really hinting on those storms per se that well. There, see, there it is right there. But the biggest threat, I think, is going to be, the hail and damaging winds. And then this same storm that's going to produce those hailers in Texas, and you see southerly winds here. But southerly winds near the mountains could mean an upslope flow and a lot of clouds. Especially if you have a southeast wind coming in. Let's look now at the mid-Atlantic. Mid-Atlantic. Come on. Just load a bit more. Now look at the Northeast for today. Very warm temperatures in Philadelphia, and all of a sudden you go to New York City, it's cool. So So you had a bit of a backdoor cold front that came in. Boston is in the 40s. They're thinking, is it really May? They're thinking, it's not May. It's like it's April. I'm not going to Martha's Vineyard today because the weather's so cold. That's what they're probably all doing. They wanted to go to the vineyard because it's Friday tomorrow, and the weather is just clammy and cold. I mean, it's perfect like for fishing because you don't have a lot of people out. It's perfect for clamming and fishing. But you would have to be wearing those thermal pants, of course. But look at those very high temps, and you'll be getting some nice thunderstorms. Because look at those mid 80s, so areas in central Pennsylvania might get some nice thunderstorms. And Saturday, New York City might get some rumblers. Look at those. See the area of cooler temperatures there? That's actually thunderstorm activity right over there, areas of precipitation. You could actually use the temperatures to actually see where there's precipitation. Area of thunderstorms right there. Thunderstorms right there. Weak ones, though. Storms, albeit, but weak. Not very powerful ones. And here comes that storm system, right? So to ruin your Sunday, Sunday is going to be a very gloomy day. Just rainy, raw, chilly Sunday. Let's look at simulated reflectivity now. I mean, the only snow we might get is, there's still a bit of sea ice left, so you can see there's a tiny area below freezing temps right over there. So let's look at simulated reflectivity. Yeah, some heavy showers that came through New York City about an hour ago. There they go on the models. Barely hinted on them though. And then looking for tomorrow afternoon, there's going to be some pretty intense storms that are going to pop up. They're not going to do much when they get to New York City. You might get a few rumbles of thunder, and that's about it. But Saturday afternoon, there's going to be a few of those straggling type storms. Because the air is still going to be a little humid. They're not going to do much. But then Sunday, oh, look at that. Raw, chilly day. And how does the GFS hint on that storm? The GFS is hinting on it, pretty differently than some of the other models. So there we go, those thunderstorms. Some heavy rain early Saturday morning should end, and then Saturday afternoon, another round of heavy rain. And this is for Sunday. But thing is, this model is saying 9Z, so this is very heavy rain. So just downpours and downpours and downpours of rain. This can bring about an inch or two for New York City. And Sunday afternoon, you might get some of those weak pop-up thunderstorms because their air will be a little cold aloft. Nothing like this, but there'll be residual moisture left over. The air will still be a little bit unstable. See, it's about 2 levels below the 5400 line. And, this is going pretty far out now, so this may or may not happen. Let's go to a GFS FE3, which tends to do much better. Let's look at the GFS FE3 now. And look at what it says. And thunderstorms coming in Saturday at night. So looking at, Friday night, my bad. I'm really sleep deprived right now. Yeah, look at that. Oh, now you see. Yeah, this is much different. Now I think Sunday is going to be rained out. All of Sunday is just going to be gloomy and wet. Big difference between the GFS and the FE3. Big difference. Both are GFS. And the GFS FE3 tends to do much better than the GFS operational. It almost tends to do as well as the European, actually. This is meant to be a computer with the European itself, or high resolution model. And the fact that this is so, not far out, Look at that, Monday afternoon. Storms right along the cold front there. And look at that. Oh, look at that. If you get that, you could get some small hail there. I mean, if the cold air aloft can just be a little bit further westward, hail is possible. But look how far out that is. I mean, come on. That's like very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. I'm going to be ending this video in the next 10-15 minutes. I'm just going to be I'm going to go off topic for a bit. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to be talking about more about severe weather. I'm going to be talking about, let's see, what do you guys actually want to talk about? Do you want to look up the weather for your area? Oh, thank you for joining me. So now I'll be looking at the radar again. Look at that, it's collapsing southward. Sometimes storms, as they get more intense, they tend to get drawn southward by the jet stream, or they tend to blow anywhere they want sometimes. I believe that's a flood warning. Actually, it's no longer a severe thunderstorm warning. Now I think this is a flood warning. Nope, severe thunderstorm warning still. Yep, there's a bit of some weak rotation there, but more broad. So broad that it's probably not a concern. You could even see it on the radar. It looks like a little bit of a swirl, like a low pressure swirl. It's basically a mini MCV there, like a miniature mesoscale convective vortex. I don't even know if that's going to actually have a low pressure center. I mean, this is caused by the wind shear. See right there? See that little swirl there? There's some mountains over there, so it's, there's some hilly terrain. It's the Rio Grande River right here. The Rio Grande, and then runs downward, towards lower terrain until it reaches like the Brownsville area. So let's look at the velocities again. There you go. See, you have that area of rotation right there. It's very weak. I mean, it's hardly noticeable. That's the bigger cell right there. That storm is going to produce some very strong winds and heavy rain for Del Rio. Plus, Del Rio's under a flood advisory. And again, the European snowstorm. So let's talk about other things now. What should I talk about? I'll be talking about, even though it's not on the topic, I'll be talking about I already did talk about it. So, okay, earthquake activity, So let's look at earthquakes. This is maybe 2 minutes, and then I'll go back to weather again. Nothing much to talk about. You got the normal, the geysers geothermal operation causing those earthquakes there. Nothing in San Francisco. Nothing in this except a quarry blast at a depth of 300 meters above sea level. Negative 0.3 kilometers means, since that's considered a depth, negative 0.3 means it's actually above sea level. So it's 300 kilometers above sea level, but underground. Probably mining for some resources. Oh, big quake there. Probably a 3.5, 4.9 kilometers near Templeton, California. Actually, I wasn't looking over there. I was looking right at the red over there. Now you have the New Madrid seismic zone there, which is a divergent fault zone. Which is why you have a very strong valley here. I mean, this is basically a failed rift zone. You never know. It could develop into a successful one in the future. Could. But it's most likely failed. That's why you have hot springs in this area. Because rift zones sometimes could become volcanic, but that's very unusual. It's very common though, but this is not that type. This, of course, some very deep quakes. right here, 39 kilometers in depth. So this is both a subduction and this is a slow transformation between a subduction zone. We have all these volcanoes here, and the Puerto Rican Trench is here, and this is transitional between a subduction and a transformed fault boundary. So volcanoes could form here because this is a new subduction. So this is very new. All of these are, this is a new island arc. So this is going to eventually become volcanic as this transforms into a subduction zone. And this subduction zone goes through just north of Haiti, just south of Cuba, and then continues all the way into Guatemala. And of course, now let's go back to severe weather again. And weather for the next week. And I'm going to give each area a detailed forecast, starting with my area in the Northeast. Actually, I already did that. So let's do Chicago. Let's look at NamNest for Chicago. So here's Chicago dealing with some showers right now. As time progresses, the weather will get better, but you'll have some heavy rain in the Kentucky area. Southern Indiana, northern Kentucky will get some pretty heavy rain overnight into the early morning hours. Should clear up by the early afternoon for eastern Indiana. Ohio will have rain throughout the day. Should end by the afternoon, but then you may get a few thunderstorms. Maybe some small hail from some of the strongest storms. That's why this area is actually under a marginal risk for tomorrow. And here's a cold front coming in with those thunderstorms across parts of Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Minnesota. These storms should be primarily non-severe. However, a stray severe storm cannot be ruled out, especially in this area here, where there will be some cold air aloft. Some small hail is possible, but no severe thunderstorms are really expected. Maybe an isolated one. And then you'll have that low pressure system that's going to basically make everyone's Sunday just rainy. Just gloomy and rainy. And you have some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity for Sunday. And now let's look at the regular NAM for the whole nation and see what is in the forecast. There are the thunderstorms across Arkansas. Actually, Arkansas, I never looked at that though, but I didn't really see it. But wow, the NAM is actually really, really and extreme with those storms. I mean, I didn't think the NAM was going to go so rambunctious, but okay, I guess thunderstorms for New York City, and apparently some severe thunderstorms for Texas, according to this run of the NAM. NAMNES is much more milder, but it's just estimating very high chance of heavy rain and thunderstorms. Doesn't mean all this area is gonna actually get it. And then as time goes on, Sunday afternoon you might have some convective activity as there's some leftover residual cold air aloft. And let's look at temperatures aloft. This is how you determine why there will be convective activity in thunderstorms. So you see all this rising warm air, but how the air is usually cold over the mountains sometimes, especially with some of the taller peaks. So that causes a drying of the air, and that's called lapse rates. And when you have high lapse rates, lift becomes very easy and you get severe thunderstorms. There'll be a little pocket of cold air aloft, from about 10,000 feet upwards. There should be some sub-freezing temperatures over the Northeast. I mean, it's going to be on, just around freezing, so not really conducive for hail, just maybe some convective showers, but non-hailing showers. You won't have hail. You might get some hail over, parts of Central and Northern Europe as some of those convective activity comes in. So this is looking at convective activity. A lot of thunderstorms across Oklahoma and Texas. Nothing severe for tomorrow, but rumblers are definitely expected. Maybe some small hail. But southern Texas, watch out for severe thunderstorms. And the biggest threat should be, as I said, hail. And I'm going to look at the SPC now. Just looking at sea surface temperatures. Let's look at the Storm Prediction Center. Let's look at the day one outlook. Oh, still hasn't updated yet. And I believe this is for, so since May 2nd. Oh, hatched area for hail. Hatched area for hail. See, hatched area means 2 inches or greater within 25 miles. 10% chance of that. Let's see. Let's go to nws.org. You know, to the head website to see if there's any other severe thunderstorm warnings. Oh, my bad. nws.gov. Gov, darn it. Yeah, there we go. There's thunderstorm watch here. Mostly a flooding concern. Looks like all the fifth thunderstorms have died down, so I'll be ending the live stream now. So today's kind of a boring day. I'm really tired now, so I guess I'll be going to bed. I'll be trying to live stream and upload videos as much as I can. I got a new job, so I'll be a lot more busy now. Thank you all for watching and have a great day. Bye.